before we start, I think if you were playing A or C, you should still be throwing this trip the majority of rounds. Just being able to deny the B lurker is so strong that it's just worth it to throw this thing down. With that in mind, starting with C because I think it's the best site for him. We're coming up here with the camera, placing it on top of the flower here. I think this is basically just the strongest camera you can do on the site. It's very similar to the Ascent B camera, where it gives you good vision into the choke a little bit before they get out, and vision on the entire site, and they just have to turn all the way around to break it. And then after that, we're going to be throwing a one-way. For this one-way, you're going to line it up using the left HUD line on your screen, lining it up with this brick where it becomes darker and lighter. It's going to look like that. And then if you have only one trip, I'm throwing it here paired with a cage. And if you have a second one, I would either place it in the choke here or just a simple one across here. Now, we're playing from this position. When our camera spots people, your timing, pop this one way that can get us a kill as they're running in. Realistically though, a lot of times you won't get a kill off of this, but it just denies people from pushing you this side so you don't get collapsed. And then instead, we are mainly playing off of this strip, popping a cage, getting a kill off of it, and you're trying to stall and take fights. For the second setup, we're going to do a little bit of a double one-way setup. For the first one, place your crosshair at the edge of here and just throw. Honestly, super hard to miss. And for the second one, the same one way as before, same lineup. For our trip, for the first one, we're placing it just right here in the choke. And then for the second one, honestly, I would never run this setup without running the B trip also, because you have no cages to blow after trips anyway, so. And then as soon as the round starts, we're placing our camera here and running back. Our camera gives us good early info here. It's a little bit different. And just gives us slightly earlier timing for a one-way compared to the camera above. So we pop these, spray down. We're likely getting one. If we get two, it's great. And then we are chilling, playing our lives. Our camera is giving us pretty early info, so we will likely have a second rotator with us that we can back up with and play trades off of. Okay, so for the third setup, we're placing our camera on this pillar as high as you can. Just gives pretty early info again on mount. And then for tripwires, we're just trying to play off of two kill trips in this area here. Here are two particular ones that I'm a fan of. And then as soon as the round starts, we are throwing a one-way by aiming at the tip of this vine and throwing. For our second cage, we're just saving into the round and free-handing it. And now, playing from here, our camera gives us pretty good info on bound that we can pop this one-way off of. We are not full committing off of this, we are just using it to try to pick one off on the right side and chill. Whenever they're rushing in, you can throw your second cage out, pop it, and spam off your trips for free kills. And then for the final setup on C, this is going to be a retake setup. We're going to throw the same camera from the first one. Super strong camera that you can use. For tripwires, here are the main two that I've been throwing. This one just covers the run up here and the run up on this side, super strong. And then one at the tip of the stairs here. For cages, I have been throwing one right in here, no lineup required, and just holding on to the other one in my back pocket. Okay, now playing this setup, you can play it with a rifle, but an Odin also has big benefits to this setup, and another setup I will show you on A after this one, so I would recommend running it with an Odin. Okay, so playing in the setup, we are playing in camera. And as soon as we see people walking in, we're going to get off camera, just to try to conserve it, to hope it doesn't get broken. When they're running in the site, it's likely they will smoke you out here, if they do not smoke you out, you have your one way that you can play out from here, and you have your second cage in your back pocket you can pop and spam off the trips with safely. And then once they've gotten into sight and you spam it off your tripwires, if they go for the plant, there's mainly two different spots that people are planting nowadays, either here or here. Depending on both of these, cannot be wallbanged with a rifle, but they can be wallbanged with a node in here. So that's why we're trying to save our camera, because as soon as we see planter, we can either ping the ground here and spam him, or throw a camera tag and spam him again for a free kill. And stopping plant, which is huge for our team. Okay, so for setups on A, for the first setup, the camera I like to throw is this one right here. It will get smoked out quite often, but it is quite strong against both countering lurkers, because it acts as a one-way camera where you can see their feet and they cannot see the camera. And it has another benefit that I will show you in a little bit. And then for tripwires, generally I like to play this setup with two trips. For the first one, I will place it off the tree here, paired with a cage. And then for the second one, we have to wait until after the round starts. But as soon as the round starts, we're placing a trip here, running up, and banking our second cage off of this lip. And now, playing this setup, we are playing right along the line of this door. You can play the setup with both a rifle or an Odin, but again, an Odin has some extra benefits to it. So now playing this, we're showing in camera. As soon as we see anyone walking up here, our camera can tag them, and what ends up happening is most people will retreat either here or over here to retrieve the dart. And this is an insanely free wallbang kill. With a rifle, it still works though. And then playing in this room, we just hang out. If they end up opening door, normally I will end up popping this cage and playing here, waiting until either they break the trip or run into it, because it is easy to bait out this. It is easy to bait out this one way by just opening door randomly, and I don't want to lose tree room control. What ends up happening? It plays out. We tag guy, go for wallbang. They open door. I activate cage here. Stand over here. Wait for the trip. Activate this one way, and it is the freest kill ever. And then after that, you've gotten two basically, and you're just playing your life. For the second setup on A, for the camera, we're gonna come up here and just jump throw it anywhere across this entire wall. It's not that big of a deal where you put it. For cages, we're walking into this corner. You see this part in the leaf here. We're going to aim here and then aim down until our crosshair is on the rock, like so, and throw. For our second cage, we're just gonna put it in the choke here. And then for trips, placing one right here, and just a basic one for info here. Playing the setup's really simple again. We're showing backside. When they start to run out here, we have the one way for it. If they try to push us through the one way, the trip catches them. And for the left side, we just have a normal trip and cage to stall off of it. Finally, for B site, this is the main setup I'm running when anchoring the site. We're coming to this room here, looking at our camera, aiming as far left as we can before it turns red, and then we're jump throwing. It will land like this, and see vision along the walkout on this wall, and in connector. For trips, we are placing one here, and then for a second one, we're placing it here. And then for cages, we're just placing one in the choke and saving the second one in our back pocket. Now playing this setup, we're gonna play in heaven. Keep in mind with this setup, this tripwire does not stop the lurk. They can simply jump over it on the boxes here. But this tripwire combined with this camera does stop the lurk. This camera spots anyone walking up in this area along this wall and is super hidden. If there is a lurker, you playing in heaven, you can just simply wait until he's jumping on his box catch him with his pants down and get a free kill. This guy's jumping around like an idiot. If they're breaking the door in a link, you have info on that, and you have info on the choke again, like I said. If they run out, normally this tripwire is super good for the main run out. This tripwire is super good for the linked run out, and can catch people from the main running out still by running across here, or if they're jumping up into heaven trying to push you. Generally, if this setup will end up happening is I will save this cage in the choke for retake, pop it like this, or if there's a lurker, when he has jumped up onto this box, I will pop this here to try to kill him so I can't get traded by anyone in main. For our second cage, generally what ends up happening with it is I'm throwing it somewhere in this area and just trying to rat around with it, try to find a timing of peeking out this area or using it to drop down. Okay, for our second B setup, this is a little bit weird, but we are actually placing our camera on A just for early A main info. This camera, or this setup, does not require a camera at all, so we're just using it to help our teammates get early info so that we can rotate. For our first trip, we're placing it just along the floor here to protect ourselves. You can place any kill trip you would like, but this is just the one I prefer, just to stop them from pushing you. And then for our first cage and second trip, we actually are waiting until after the round starts to throw these down. For our cage, we have a one-way where we are lining ourselves up with this line here, and then placing the edge of our middle UI line across here, like so. And as soon as the round starts, we are throwing this, and then throwing this trip. And now, we're popping this camera for our team, giving them early info. If people cross, we can try to get the tag for them, or we can just hold on to this camera and pop it late into the round if the enemy team has been lurking frequently and has been prone to throwing fakes or something. And then on B, as soon as they break this tripwire, you can pop this one way, get a free kill. And then when they're running in, we're just playing our life, maybe trying to spam the stop planter, or just popping this cage, holding C link control, and getting a kill off our second tripwire when they push into us. And those are all the setups that I'm running for Lotus. Sorry for the long delay on this, guys. I just wanted to make sure that I was giving you guys setups that I was extremely confident that work in my games, and not just giving you something blindly, hoping it works for you guys without actually doing enough testing. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what map you want to see next. Peace.